People out there identify Cameroon as a French-speaking country. Like, people still don't know that there is this English and French-speaking part, and even for the few who know, they minimize it.
I should be fair to say that being Cameroonian or being a bilingual country, whether we like it or not, is a curse and a blessing.
The highest francophone content I consumed was the time for football where that guy was dancing and hitting his head with that, and that was a different culture. It was coming from a different place, so I watched it as if I was a foreigner.
See, we are all different people. What you like, what I like, what he likes, what you like, it's different.
Because when I look at those who have grown in our country, I might be wrong, but people like the Kosi and the rest, I noticed that was it. They had to do what the 80% of Cameroon, the French.
Where's Kosi?
When you start with the English, they understand that this is your direction. They'll be pushing your video towards a direction. Right. You get to French, you haven't blown yet. I mean, you haven't blown, then you blow up. That simply means that the algorithm automatically switches direction, and then they start sending you to the French market. Now, as you're going into the French market, you give a couple of hits, and then everybody be like, yo, this person is big in French market, right? And then out of a sudden, you switch back your language. When you do this again, the algorithm will leave you behind.
Fine Line, brought to you by Jam TV.
Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Fine Line Show. As usual, I am your host, Golda Jam, and hosting alongside me, as always, is Makoy, the wild ass producer.
Thank you very much, Golda Jam. You're looking good. I mean, I like that masculine touch to your outfit.
Thank you.
Yeah, so guys, welcome once more to our show today. And for today's episode, we shall be talking about the different challenges that we face in the Cameroonian music entertainment industry. I mean, and also we shall be going deep to look at the various ways in which we can export our content and our creations across the Cameroonian borders. So I'll let Golda to introduce our guest, our amazing guest we have today on the show.
Yes, let's just get right to that, right? So sitting on my right is Mr. Atem Harris. He is a faceless YouTuber, a movie producer, and a media enthusiast. Thank you so much for being here, Harris. How do you feel?
I feel great. Yeah, thanks for having me too.
Thank you so much. And sitting to Makoy's left is Mr. Prince Mykel Enobi. He is the president of the Click Empire. He's an entrepreneur and a startup ecosystem builder, an event and partnership expert. He's a senior brand and communication professional. The president of Cameroon International Music Festival. He's the founder of Music Business Academy Cameroon, the CEO of Aftown Music Francophone Africa, and the CEO of Aya Tickets. Sir, thank you so much for being here. How do you feel today?
Thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure when I get to take time off to share one or two insights. I always feel excited.
I mean, with that long portfolio that we just came across, but I mean, talking to the person, you are just kind of like giving this down to earth vibes. I mean, it's so inspiring.
Yeah.
Thanks once more for being here.
Yeah, pleasure is mine, always. Pleasure is mine, always. I mean, it's worth it. If it's not worth it, I'll probably not be about it. I mean, it's worth
Oh wow, thank you very much, Mr. Atem Harris. Faceless. Tell us more
YouTuber, why?
about that. Faceless. How? I didn't get that part of the introduction.
So being a faceless YouTuber is more or less like you create content on YouTube and without showing your face. You know, so you create content without showing your face. It could be any type of content. So it could be normal entertainment content, it could be political content, there are a lot of people who do that. So it's just literally creating content without showing your face. Yeah.
Wow. So that's like YouTube content.
Yes.
I see you have received this placard or this how do you call it?
The silver award, the YouTube silver award.
Yeah, from YouTube.
Yes.
All right. So what gives that achievement? Is it like number of subscribers or what?
Yes, you need to have 100,000 subscribers and you need to be active in the YouTube partner program.
Okay.
Okay, so
Great.
let's get right to the main topic here, and I'm going to direct this question to Mr. Enobi. before directing the question, I just want to talk about, because here we're here to talk about how we can expand the Cameroon entertainment industry in terms of music, film, comedy, drama, dance, whatever, right? And I think for so many years now we can recognize that we've been suffering to do that expansion. We've been suffering to break into other markets. So with that being said, my question to you is, you'd answer also Harris when he's done. What are the biggest obstacles hindering the growth of the Cameroon entertainment industry, and what do you think are some solutions to that problem?
Oh, okay. I think that there's a whole lot of obstacles that the ecosystem is facing. For someone that's been there too long, I tell you without flinching that the first major obstacle that we have is investment, is access to cash. I mean, there's a whole lot of people that are talented. There's a whole lot of people that are creative, but the creative ecosystem is not a free ecosystem. It's an ecosystem that you have to invest financially before any other thing. And access to cash is really it's strained where we come from for several reasons. One of the reasons being that we do not have investors that are daring enough to want to put money to see that it comes back. We do not have the culture of consistency and patience. So one, access to cash. Number two, administrative bottlenecks. It's sad that in 2025 we still have the people that matter that do not understand the dynamics of the ecosystem. They don't know how it works. They don't know how monetization works. They don't know. I mean, if you ever have to sit in a board meeting with the people that matter, you realize that, I mean, they're so backward. I mean, they're like in 2010, you get, and then we're in 2025. So it's enough to stall the industry. Another thing that I've identified would be um entitlement. I mean, I've seen that the whole lot in the ecosystem where a lot of people are just entitled. I mean, people understand the industry from what they heard on Facebook. People understand the industry from what they discussed in their corridors at home and in their quarters. And there is actually very few smart-minded, very few knowledgeable people in our ecosystem that, I mean, like from my particular niche, music, for example, I'd say that there's not up to three music artist managers that I look up to, that I respect, that actually are sound in the business of artist management in Cameroon. I mean, a lot of them don't know what they're doing. I mean, there's been a time where artist management would probably mean a PA to an artist, and they call him a manager. Where I'm going to call you, say, hey, I want XYZ artist, and you say, oh, it's 500,000, it's 600,000. Say, okay, you give us a room, make sure that I mean, that's not artist management. So we have
That's management.
limited. I mean, it goes way beyond that. It goes way beyond that. That would be more like a road manager. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
Yes, it goes way beyond that. So, I mean, in a nutshell, that having to dabble a lot, these are a few things that I think that are stalling the industry, and that has kept us. Another thing too is the fact that, I mean, this one you can't blame the players in the ecosystem. The fact that majority of the players in the ecosystems have not traveled out of their comfort zone. I mean, if you lived in Boya all your life, you'd understand the ecosystem, the dynamics of Boya. You probably don't know that maybe there's a bigger fish if you go to Douala. And if you're in Cameroon, for example, and then you move just to next door Cote d'Ivoire, or you move to next door Ghana, you realize that there's more to this ecosystem than we're thinking. For someone that's well traveled too, I mean, there's some people that travel, but they're still primitive. But those that are well traveled and then they are open to new ideas, you realize that traveling is a whole school on its own. I mean, you get to see new things, you get to see how people do things. So in a nutshell, I think that these are the basics, bare minimum things that have taught our industry right up to this point, I think.
Wow, I mean, you have mentioned a lot, a lot. You have mentioned like the 4 key points I picked. First, you spoke about the lack of resources and investment. You spoke about the lack of good managers, because I believe the growth of every entertainer is good management. I have mentioned also like limited exposure to information. That's really a lot. We'll go deep into maybe possible solutions for these particular issues. But now let's listen to Mr. Atem Harris. I'm sure you have maybe a different perspective and some which are similar. So you could let us know what have you noticed are the challenges that are holding the Cameroonian industry back.
Thank you. So I mean, Mr. Enobi has said a lot, but one important point is language. So we have a serious, I mean, because it's not our fault still, but then again, because of the fact that we have this English and French languages in Cameroon, incorporated in Cameroon, it feels like two entertainment industry in an entertainment industry, right? So it's, and giving again to the fact that the industry that is bigger happens to be the French side, right? So it causes a problem because we know fully well that for some reasons which are beyond probably my understanding, the English culture is more open, it's more vast, you know, as far as entertainment is concerned. So I think this language thing is a very big problem. More to that, you know, with language, people out there identify Cameroon as a French-speaking country. Like people still don't know that there is this English and French speaking part, and even for the few who know, they minimize it. Like they don't think it's like that serious. They just thought, maybe these people learn English just like that, not because it's, you know, part of them. But language is a big problem. Also, I'm going to say there is that refusal to dare. There is a refusal to dare at so many levels. Now, daring could be at the level of the investors who probably, because there are people in Cameroon who have money who will not refuse. But then again, they don't see the future. They don't see like the future. Like the future is not so clear. You know, it's not so clear for them. So some might have the money, they want to put it in, but then again, how are they going to get back here?
Do you blame the environment, the players, or the investors, potential investors?
Now, everybody has something to play in this. I will not blame anybody, but everybody has got something to play in this, right? So there's a refusal to dare at the level of the investors. Now, even at the level of the artists, there's a refusal to still dare. Now, for the longest of time, we have seen, you know, the whole Amapiano thing, you know, that's trendy, and but we can really count the number of Cameroonian artists that, you know, dived on this Amapiano thing, you know. So Amapiano has been there like for the longest.
So that's like living like their comfort zone. Like,
Exactly. So they don't want to try new things. You know, even the coming of TikTok. When do we start seeing Cameroonians getting into TikTok or Cameroonian entertainers getting into
till
TikTok?
now,
A
bro.
bit a bit late.
Till now.
They stayed.
Yeah.
They took some time.
And now, unfortunately, that's America. That's out of the game. I mean, we are hoping that probably, you know, the president can do something about it, but America is out of the game. And remember that TikTok happened to be that platform, whether we like it or not, that permitted Cameroonian content, be it from the musicians to the creative, to the comedians, to the skit makers, to expand, you know, to extend into the Western world.
Libyanka is a very good example.
Exactly. You know, the if you want to call all these people, we have a lot of trends that went, you know, on TikTok, and they succeed to penetrate into the Western world through TikTok. But now, when do we have our people getting into these platforms? And now this is it. The funny thing is that now TikTok is out, and then there are these new apps that are coming in. I don't know. Americans created
Red Note.
No, Red Note is the Chinese app.
The Chinese app.
Then there's another app. I don't know. It's sure. I've forgotten the name, but it's something right at the end. That app now is the app where people are running to. Red Note, people are running there. Popo, people are running there. Cameroonians will sit and observe. And when everything has been done, when it's like so saturated, they will not say, okay, let's go and see what's happening there. And when we see our younger brothers and sisters, older brothers and sisters getting there, like the content creators, you know, the people, actually the skit makers getting there, they'll be like, that app of picking them. And if you go for the that app of picking. That's how it started with TikTok. But now at some level, everybody wanted to get into TikTok. So I think these are just one or two basic stuff, you know, that's it's really a problem.
So to add like some more adjectives to this point, I would say they are slow, not only like maybe refusing to dare. I would say slow, lazy. I think laziness is one of our problems here.
Yeah.
So Golda, you're saying something.
Yes, you know one thing I've noticed with how like Mr. Enobi is speaking and Mr. Atem is speaking is like they use a lot of generalities. People speak in a lot of generalities, and we cannot learn when we are speaking
Okay.
in general ways. Mr. Enobi made a point about like the people who can do something, but their mindset is not where it's supposed to be for them to be able to do the thing. I want to know which people you're talking about. Which people?
Oh, I see. I mean, sometimes you get, we're in an era in this ecosystem that you have to be very careful what you say out here.
Not specific names.
I know. I'm just saying.
Yes.
I mean, because
We don't want you to
Is
be
it
careful here, though.
politicians?
Give it
no, I get. I mean, right now our industry is firing on controversies, on bad energy, and there's a way that you can say something that someone's just gonna cut just what you say. Anyways, you get the point. But then before I get to that, Ari said something that it spoke my mind. It's a conversation we've had in a couple of corridors. The whole issue about language.
Okay.
And I should be fair to say that being Cameroonian or being a bilingual country, whether we like it or not, it's a curse and a blessing. You get it's a curse and it's
So
a
it's not
blessing.
only like a bad thing.
It can only be a bad thing. It's a curse or a blessing. But now it just depends on how you want to play to your advantage.
Maybe you should tell us some of the advantages.
What?
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of advantage. Just the fact that you can, an artist like Loco, for example, can sing in both French and English perfectly. It means he can fit into any
Covers the whole world.
ecosystem.
Yeah. The
It
entire
means
world.
if you take him to West Africa, Loco, look, there was these Coca-Cola used to have Coke Studio.
Yes, Coke Studio.
From Cameroon, it's been X Malaya and
Loco with Jason Derulo.
I think you get when Loco was there. I mean, that's the whole West African thing. I mean, he could blend normally. I mean, just like he was saying, a lot of people be asking like, "Are you Cameroonian? Like, you speak English?" I travel a lot, so a lot of people ask me, "Are you Cameroonian and speak English?" In my head, I'm like, if you speak French, you will not even. I'll probably not even understand what I'm talking about. So it just depends. So, and then if you take Loco to the other side, to Paris, he's going to blend. So it's a curse and it's a blessing.
Is that the only advantage?
That's not. I mean, that should be a wonderful thing that you can blend in any ecosystem, and you can survive in any ecosystem. Just imagine that you take a Nigerian and put them in Gabon,
No ways. You can't stop.
Bro.
or just take. Do you know that?
English cannot speak
Nigerians
English, sorry
trend
to say.
everywhere. What do you
I
mean?
mean,
But in this language, there's language
there's a
barrier.
language. They have a language
The
barrier.
expression.
But still, people would. It's like we're listening to Fali Ipupa. He's singing every day in one. I don't know what language he's singing.
But
Then
shock
if
you,
he comes here,
Fali
he's going
speaks
to blend
English.
because we
Do you
love
know that?
Most of these guys
speak
speak French languages too.
Are
Yeah.
you kidding
much
me?
English
Yes.
does he
This
speak?
English.
I mean, even if he doesn't speak much English like a normal Anglophone, but he speaks English.
He just learnt it because he never knew.
So if he can learn it, it means that it's a good thing, it's an asset.
Yeah, it adds to the point that he's saying, okay, look at let's take the
Look at
Fali case.
Celine Dion, for
He had
example.
to actually learn how to speak
he
this
needs it.
foreign language.
Mhm.
Which shows that he had to even
But for us, it's
incur,
natural.
like let's say some money and something, or let's say someone can even have like a mediator, like someone who is translating. But the advantage she's saying now is this bilingual person, like Celine Dion, wherever she goes to, she just blends. You don't need extra cost, extra translator, or extra school. So
For
that's the
example,
advantage.
Aren't you always very excited to watch Stanley talk?
I'm telling you, I like the way
know.
he blends those two languages.
I mean, it's an art for him. And Stanley will speak French from Paris and speak
And
English
mix it
from,
in one
from the
sentence,
UK and just
yeah.
Just be playing over the
you
thing, and
get
then you're just like,
it's great. You get what I mean? But then let me also shock. This is detail now. Come to our industry. Majority of the francophone entertainers are trying to speak English. Yes.
yep.
That's true.
Almost all the artists, Franco, see, Tenor, for example, Tenor speaks English well. Forget that thing he does.
Lidol.
Lidol speak. Forget that thing. Tenor speaks English.
Okay, so are you saying English like is instead advantageous? Because this problem
So
that
the
that he
bilingual
pointed
is advantageous
but
already.
this
No,
problem he was
I'm
pointing
coming.
was for Anglophone entertainers. Is limiting us as
Not necessarily Anglophone entertainers.
what I'm
Cameroon
saying-
entertainment industry.
Cameroon entertainment industry
Not
doesn't.
only
the language
for-
barrier limits
Yes,
Cameroon
yes.
out there.
No, wait. I was coming to no. We're getting the mix up. We're saying that to be bilingual, it's good. You get what I mean? It's a good thing that's the blessing. We should harness on it. But like he said also, and I support him, it's a curse.
Yeah.
It's a curse because we have two ecosystems. And there are very few entertainers that have been able to break even in both ecosystems.
Facts.
For example, do you know that there are trends that happen among the Anglophone community it's so popular among us that the francophones have no clue about it. I mean, they don't even know about it. Yeah, I mean,
Likewise.
in my office, I have francophones and anglophones, and I swear to you, see, these are our influencers, our story. They have no clue. Likewise, they have things that are important to them, that would worry them, and that is trending to them. The normal anglophone person has no clue. For example, there was a fight recently with some two top francophone influencers.
Yeah, Noel Kenmo's mom and Noel's ex-friend.
I don't know the names, anyways. But
You see, you don't know Noel
No,
so
Ken.
now
she's an
you see,
actress.
That's a big
you
celebrity
see,
in Cameroon,
I
French
mean,
Cameroon.
yeah.
I think she's
Yeah,
the most
she's
followed
the wife of
Cameroonian
Fringon Chalala,
female
the current
actress.
wife.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Facebook.
So now you see, she is popular among the francophones.
Pygmy, this guy that got married to the Pygmy girl, I
The
was
Patrice
asking,
guy.
I've asked Anglophones,
They
don't
don't
even
have
know,
a
they don't
clue.
know.
You see, so it's not difficult to break even. I mean, it takes a lot to be able to break even on
But
both
to push together like
ecosystems.
one country.
Perfect. So I think that's where the curse and the blessing comes in. But now to come back to your questions about the people, I mean, let's look
Be
at
specific instead of general.
let's
Case studies.
let's look
Not
at the
name
government.
so. Not name
No,
so.
no,
I
no.
want to keep big
Let's look at the government. I mean, go to the Ministry of Culture, for example. I think it's the first time I'm saying this on air. I mean, but I have this conversation off air a lot of times. I think that at some point, the government had to compel the Ministry of Culture and said that, see, if you have to put money, which is normal, it's business.
Yeah.
If I have to put money on this talk show, for example, you have to be able to show me that I can make this money back, or it's even worth it to put money in it.
Right.
And then they sit in their corridors and in their offices, and the way in which they want to monetize and raise money. There's a communique that says that to be an event organizer, you have to get a license of some XYZ amount of money. Artist managers have to pay, I think, 500,000. I mean, like, what are you guys? Have you heard about it?
I heard about it. I think you mentioned it once.
And then, but there are better ways in which this ecosystem can make money. What happened to monetization? But now you will not blame them because they don't even know. I mean, they have no clue how. I mean, these guys don't even have a TikTok account. I mean, personally, I don't have a TikTok account, but
Talk about monetization. There's this thing I've heard about French Africa or French or Cameroon that, let's say, if someone gets views from here, it's not going to bring remunerations like as compared to
Somebody in America.
reactions from monetization that comes from other countries like West Africa.
that would be the better person to answer that.
Harris, I think, yeah. Harris.
Now the thing is right. I think in now many people have a misconception, because the misconception is the fact that people are in Cameroon, of course, and they're making money off YouTube, so they think Cameroon is definitely probably in the partner program and stuff like that. But then again, that's not the case, right? Unfortunately, if you're on YouTube, you post your videos on YouTube, and your audience, let's say 80% is from Cameroon, you'll not make money from that 80%. Why? Because they don't watch ads here.
Oh, ads. Yes.
It's so
I
sad.
We had
think
that conversation.
Mykel told me like a
It's
couple
very
of days
sad.
ago.
And I think it's something which has spread across all of French Africa, with the exception of Senegal. But now, the thing is, Senegal, they pay Senegal, but very little. Very little.
Is there any particular reason why Senegal is?
Now, the thing about making money is the fact that what is the ability or the probability of a Cameroonian, to click an ad, to follow the link of an ad, and probably purchase a product from that ad. So it's the purchasing power of the people that would determine. It's not about the number of people watching. It's about the number of people, the potential people that can click on an ad, and probably purchase a product, or visit the website that they wanted to visit.
Cards in this country.
And you discover that, for example, in more advanced countries, let's talk about South Africa, for example, because South Africa, yes, it's the highest African country. It's the African country with it's the highest African country with a high RPM or CPM, either of them.
What's IPM, please?
It's simply the amount of money you make per 1,000 views, and then the CPM is the amount of money that advertisers pay per 1,000 views.
So South Africa has
the highest because they have a high purchasing power online, right? Now, you discover that recently, people might be like, but Nigeria has a big audience. Why weren't they monetized all that long? It's not about the views, I repeat. In as much as these platforms want people who can bring more people into the platform and keep the consistency on the platform, but then again, they want to make money.
purchasing power.
And the money is the purchasing power. Now, we know what's happening in Nigeria as far as purchasing online is concerned. So because of that, so many people in Nigeria were scared or are scared to buy online. Hence, they couldn't just give it to them. But over time, there's an increasing number of people who do these things because businesses are digitalized. A lot of people sell things online. People don't necessarily have to open a physical shop.
So what is, if I may ask you, so it's condition, what is holding Cameroon in particular from, or what is holding our I want to ask about the purchasing power. What's hindering that our purchasing power from moving up, or what influences the purchasing power?
Now, you first need to know the culture of the people first of all. So it's not really in our culture like that. It's not like really, we are not engulfed, we are not welcomed, online purchasing and stuff like that. Secondly, also, I want to say maybe or maybe not, we see a lot of things that happen online. We somehow, somewhere, we are really connected with Nigeria, and they were so scared nowadays. Like, yes, we are so scared, right? We are so scared nowadays to really, do buyings online and stuff like that. Not necessarily because people don't have, because of course people have. I have my card here, but it's very difficult for me to really use my card.
All right, I think Mr.
Yeah.
Enobi should,
But also, I
should
think
give a
that the
point
thing,
about,
I think,
yeah.
I mean, aside what I said, it's more of an administrative hold up. True. It's less of
So it's
the
like
other
the
things.
the
For
government has to
example,
play a role.
yes.
Yes,
It's
start
actually
from the
blocked at the level. There's some advertising rules. There's some advertising rules via France, Atem, and all these things that it has to go through. I mean, it's a whole uh, juggle, but it's not open. Cameroon is not open to it. I mean, French African country, not just Cameroon. It's more. I think it's more of an administrative thing than yeah. So that territory is not yet open.
What's the solution? So what can open? How do we break that door? Or we just wait for
It's an
power to change
administrative
hands? Or what?
Are we going to go and
Do we have to
the
bring
government?
change power? Power should change.
Like I said at the beginning,
Solution.
it's one of the problems that we have is that these people do not even know. You get the point.
How do
Sensation
we
is
get
needed.
them to know?
Exactly. And some people are trying. I mean,
Are they listening?
the problem is that it's one thing here. For example, I'm one person that just now we're having a conversation before we got on air, and see, I'm one person that I want to learn. I'm curious to learn. I learn every day, and I think it defines who I am. I mean, I spoke with him today. I mean, I know him, but today was the first day I met him, and we spoke for like 10 minutes, and I understood immediately that he's sound. He knows he has a mastery of it.
How to
You get he is
sound.
he is
He's just sitting there, you don't have to blush.
He is. He's very sound.
he is actually. I mean, so he understands the topic. You get what I mean? But then again, it's one thing. I mean, there's two kinds of people you cannot advise. You cannot advise someone that has money and someone who's in love. You cannot advise those two people. And then it comes to that some people that are not willing to learn. For example, I spoke with him. He had another view of the same topic backstage, and immediately, I mean, I was willing to learn. I was like, okay, let me hear more about it. So now, relating into what we're talking about, are they listening? Yeah, they might be listening. Are they willing to even want to learn? Are they willing to want to open up and be like, okay, let's check it out? I think that the government hasn't yet placed value to what the entertainment ecosystem is doing. They don't think that it is. I mean, like all the times we've heard our head of state talk, he's talking more about agriculture. He's talking more about other things, which is advise the youth. But he's never said that, oh, let's check entertainment. Let's see. Because, I mean, trust me, for anyone that has made digital money, I mean, the right way, digital money, you realize that in as much as the same way agriculture gives money, digital can actually give money.
Yeah.
And I think that it's if they were paying attention or they knew about it, they probably encourage us more. I mean, even the digital comes with pros and cons. Everything has advantages and disadvantages. But I think that they are not just paying attention and they are not just willing to evolve.
Maybe we haven't campaigned enough. Like
I
we have
think-
to, protest and stuff.
I don't think that.
Let's go back to like there's another problem that I feel. I don't know if, because I'm going to ask you guys. I don't know if you guys believe that the Anglophone culture is very different from the French culture.
Of course.
Totally different.
I mean, you're even going far Anglophone for Anglophone. The normal Bakwe man and the Bayangi man is not the same.
Cameroon is that country. Cameroon is that country with
It's like
differences.
so I'm just saying that, like, so I want to be very honest. I don't consume francophone content that
No, I mean that's very
the
fine.
highest francophone content I consumed was the time for football where that guy was dancing and hitting his head like that. I
that
don't
yellow
know
guy.
Nigeria still like a
And to shock you, that guy is that guy Anglophone from
entertainer.
He's sound up.
Opopo, yeah, but I mean his background is did he go here
He's
English?
francophone.
Is he,
No,
he's
he's francophone.
francophone.
He's
All of them.
From
francophone.
his culture, you can
He's
tell.
francophone.
Yeah,
Yes,
so
from how he was dancing and hitting, like that's a francophone dance. The sound behind it, you could see that they were familiar with that, and that was a different culture. It was coming from a different place. So I watched it as if I was a foreigner.
Sure.
Meanwhile, I was I'm a full-fledged Cameroonian,
Based
but
on
I
English.
watched it as a foreigner. I watched it feeling like, wow, this culture is great. But it's not my culture. But we are in the same country.
Now it brings us to a point. Let me just add it. I mean, it brings us to a point like can they castigate you or get mad at you for not knowing him or not liking it? No. See, we are all different people. What you like, what I like, what he likes, what you like, it's different. It brings me back to this conversation we always have. We cannot force. I can't force you to listen to content or to watch content.
oh 80-20.
I don't know. I don't know.
80-20.
Like this is you, yeah.
Holding us back.
I'm, let's not
Because we
even
don't love our.
let's not even get there. Let's even just come. That's far. We're just talking about the normal friends. We cannot blame you for not knowing it or consuming it because it's not in your bucket of interest.
Yeah.
Same as, for example, I'm sure he has things that he watches on YouTube.
Yeah.
I mean, for the kind of person he is, he definitely has things that will be interesting to him on YouTube.
Yeah.
You cannot blame him for being. I mean,
Or forcing it.
can't force him that he must even watch. For example, I don't remember the last time I watched a Nigerian movie.
Oh,
I don't
why you
remember
don't
the
like
last
Nigerian
time
movies?
because it's not just in my bucket of interest.
For me, I watch mostly or strictly Nigerian movies.
You see, so but I will tell you that I swear I don't know. You never see me on YouTube watching a Nigerian, but that's the trend now. That's what everybody's doing. A lot of people are even watching more films on YouTube than even on Netflix. But I'd rather just go to Netflix than go to YouTube any day, anytime.
Which is just personal preference.
Which is just personal
But
preference.
now let's talk about general preferences because
It's a general preference.
yeah, no, in terms of we're talking about person to person here. But if I want to sell what I'm doing, or if I want to sell what whatever entertainment I'm in, whether be it an actor or a musician or whatever, there has to be a group of people that would consume what I'm putting out, right?
Mhm.
So let's take the movies Caro is making. Right, she has to have an audience that will consume that movie. Means a group of people should love that. That's what I'm linking it back to culture, because the people who go to watch that movie, that the movies that Caro is making is linked to a certain culture that she grew up in, and maybe from the experiences she's had around the world. So that's how she's going. Those are called movies that she will create, and the people who go and watch it and are interested in it are people who come from that culture, because what they are watching, they are relating to, they are understanding it. But when there's a culture that you don't understand, you cannot really watch it
Then how do we now expand the culture?
and entertain yourself. That's the thing.
question.
That is the question. That is the point that I've been trying to make to you
Okay,
guys.
talking about movies,
About
right?
culture. How do we break
Talking
that
about
barrier?
movies and expanding and culture.
Yes.
I have noticed that Nigerians, they have grown worldwide until now. They are trying to take French Africa. I've seen them translating their films, and I think that's them trying to expand. Then you're talking about Caro, and you said, I think you were talking about somebody. You limited someone's question to what maybe they have experienced growing up and their experiences. But I feel like doing a business should start from the market. For example, me, I am an artist, definitely, right? I've been doing, I'm mostly into Afrobeat. I love Afrobeat. I listen to Nigerian songs. I get so high. Like, I love Nigerian music. I like South African music, and that's the kind of music I create. But lately, we are making changes every day. Lately, I've been seeing like, this thing, what has to do some sort of the Cameroonian music, the French Cameroon music. Because when I look at those who have grown in our country, I might be wrong, but people like the Kosi and the rest, I noticed that was it. They had to do what the 80% of Cameroon, the French culture.
Where's Kosi?
He's the top.
Where is Kosi? Why is he the top trending?
Okay, wait. See. So let me just come in here. I mean, as a businessman, as an entrepreneur, so there's something would know that everything, there's a market for everything. You just have to choose your market wisely. Okay. That's number one. There's a market for everything. Content, for example, like ours does, there's content for there's people that are willing to consume content for anything. You get what I mean? I mean, being a YouTuber, you understand that people that create content, just politics, just news around, just gossip, but there's views. So there's content for everything. You just have to understand your market and know where you're going to. Let's come to the music industry, like you said about. Okay, see, I'm very impressed with the new generation Cameroonian artists. I mean, the younger ones,
Why?
because they are not in this polemics and this politics of this thing you just said now. That's what has actually held this industry back. There's some politics that says that, oh, you must sing French.
Yeah, right.
You must... No. It worked. Don't get me wrong. I was one of the first people in this industry that started preaching that to survive in this ecosystem, you must. I think you remember I said this many times on interviews and stuff, because we understood. See, there's a lot going on in this ecosystem, in this industry that many people don't even know about. Let me go to a simple example. When you watch MTV Base and you watch Trace Africa, it's not the same kind of videos that those two channels play. Why MTV Base will show you posh, nice girls, Lamborghini, nice houses, they show you lifestyle. Trace Africa is going to show a lot of Cartier, village, suffering. So you get the point.
Yeah.
It's different. So you have to first understand, where do I want to sell to? You get. So that's it. So, but these new kids now, they don't care. They don't want, whether it's Bikusi, Makoy, that's not their problem.
I feel like it's limited. It's limited. Why? Because let's say now, talking about their market, they are doing Afrobeat, and the Afrobeat is not consumed by the English Cameroonian culture where they come from. They will prefer to consume Nigerian Afrobeats. And then now, let's say these people want to promote.
I beg to differ.
Okay, tell me.
I beg to differ. Like I said again,
Maybe we should pick one case study. Like of the new school
Crazy.
entertainment.
Razy is one.
Yeah, Rise.
Razy.
Rise. Do you really hear Rise's music in
Who is
Cameroon?
rising?
Or let's say
I
we
don't
are just
Musango.
assuming Harris.
I don't carry Musango. None of that song.
I don't think Golda will know that song. So and that is it. Golda doesn't know that song, but Rise, if
No, you cannot look at it like that, because see, does the guy? No. You cannot look at it. It's one thing to sing good music,
Yes.
and another thing to be able to promote music.
Yeah.
True.
okay,
Very true.
Bro, you can sing good music for the rest of your life.
You
It's
are
no
appreciating them for
No,
staying.
I'm accepting. I'm
Yeah.
appreciating them. See, it starts
So
first
it's
with music.
successful. That's
No,
what I'm-
it starts first with the music
Before any other thing.
before any other thing. Now, let's look at something else. Since we're breaking down, in this country, look at our A-list artists over time. Something happens to them. So there's three classes. I'll tell you, there's A-list, B-list, and C class. Now, for those artists that have stayed on B, I don't just want to call names. You figure them out on your own. Artists that have stayed on B class
I'll call,
artists.
don't worry.
Okay, this is what's going to happen. So I'll give examples, or I'll explain it, and then you guys will call names.
Yes, I'll call names.
Let's look at C class artists.
Yeah.
C class artists are artists that have done good music, that have done well, and then they are known just in their community. For example, the Mbole artists, they sing good music, they're known just around Yaoundé and stuff. The artists that are known in Boya, I mean, they're superstars in Boya.
like Rich
Like-
Casino. Is a good
Exactly.
example.
But if you call the Mongo, nobody knows
Nah,
him.
people don't
True?
know him that way.
Okay, so those are C class artists now. There's B class artists that they've just reached a certain threshold and then they've stayed there. They're neither A list or B class. They're just there.
I'll throw Asaba in there. Am I
Are you
wrong?
sure?
No. It's all right. Right on. No. Keep.
Yeah, there's like Asaba. There's
Give your own names.
there's so many of them. There's like
What do you think?
My Monster. I don't know. I don't want to be.
You're refusing.
That is those who haven't yet attained like the level,
They
like
have
the
not
stand, the
reached that
Eno, the Lady
level of
Pons,
A class.
the Lady Pons.
Like where they'll call them regularly for
Like Lady
shows.
Pons.
But here's the thing about the B class artists:
Mhm.
they stay relevant for a long time.
Ask her.
They neither go up nor go down. They just
Yeah, that's a good
It's been
example.
relevant for a long time.
Yeah,
She's
but
it's not
there, she's
superstars
there,
all the time, but
yes.
they're just there.
Good.
And it's nationwide. There's a certain level.
All right, now let's come now to the A class. The A class artists now, those that have touched the pinnacle in Cameroon. You know the names. But something is happening to our A class artists.
Eno and the rest.
When they reach the pinnacle in Cameroon, they start touching diminishing returns.
Yes.
That's true.
Yes.
A lot of
Yes.
them.
Okay, now, I
Salatiel,
think-
a lot of them.
That the problem is because they have been singing for Cameroon.
Okay, they are market.
Do you think that
And
these
then
guys have stopped singing good music from when they were superstars? did they stop singing good music?
Maybe
They
that's
still
why
sing
someone
good
like
music,
Kosi is
right?
switching, because
Yeah.
They
Kosi
still
switches
sing good music.
music.
You have to find new
He's switching
market.
now into the world Afro beat
Kosi,
kind.
Okay,
break case stuff.
let's pause from this side. Let's go to the other French. Fali, for example. Fali doesn't sing for Congo. Fali sings now for the world.
You started singing Olivia from America.
Mexico James, these are black Africans, Abi. Daju, in fact, Taik. Taik is Cameroonian. I
Yes,
mean,
He sings
I
for
think
the
his
world.
father is from
Yeah.
Bamenda.
Yes,
You know,
His mom
Yes.
is having our culture. Like
I think his
he knows
father
our
is
culture
Bamenda,
well.
is Anglophone, and then his mom. So he's Cameroon. But when they are considering Cameroonian artists, do they count him?
No, even Libyan,
Because
everyone can.
is in that polemics of say I must put Bikusi or put Makosa and put this thing in it. He's just singing good music, and good music transits. It goes anywhere. So it brings me to the point that says that this new generation, they are not in that politics.
Fine Line, brought to you by Jam TV.
But I have a question for you, because correct me if I'm wrong, right? From what you are saying, if you have to advise and which you are even recommending this, you are commending them on what they are doing instead of going that route, the previous route, the Salatiel's use of putting in French intentionally to
Mhm.
capture Cameroon market. You are recommending that they should just stay true as they are doing. But have one question. I would suggest that somebody like the Tenor and the Salatiel, they will have a lot of resources available and connections to promote in that big market at that large scale, because that market he's talking about is competitive. We have people like I don't know, the Davidos, the Kai, them even come right down to the Remas who have just come in. Imagine now, let's take a small artist like Koros or Risey. Can he promote himself in this English?
That market is not even competitive. If you say competitive, it's not as competitive as you say. See, I'll say that market is expensive.
That's what I was trying to say. So how
Market is
so
expensive.
how you advise this startup person who does not have those resources to go in there when they cannot even market themselves?
See,
Instead of marketing themselves in the small territory Cameroon first, gain the grounds, and then you then extend out, like
Right.
maybe what Coast is trying to do.
where do you live?
I live in Douala Market, Bonamusa.
Go there. Where do you live?
I live here in Boya.
Boya,
Okay, in Boya. Okay, cool. Let's look at Douala. Do you listen to Nigerian songs in Douala?
they play Nigerian songs in Douala. Jeez, they play Nigerian songs on the street.
Okay, let's not Nigerianize this conversation. Do they
But
play?
foreign songs, Fali.
Do they play? No. Do they play English songs in Nigeria in Douala?
You mean English? Okay, English Cameroonian songs.
No, English. Doesn't matter whether it's
Yes,
Kenya
they play
or
Nigerian
Nigeria.
songs.
Okay, cool.
Kenya, Diamond Platinum, they
All right.
In Yaoundé, they play
Okay,
English
let's come.
songs.
Do you have francophone friends that can sing an English song word to word, but they
I've
don't
seen
even
them
they don't
singing
speak English,
Yeah.
but they don't speak English.
They're singing
Fine.
it.
So
Yes.
I think that it's a matter of time. It's a matter of time, and that's what I'm telling you. This is the
Okay,
problem.
So
So
language is not a barrier.
our A-listers are touching diminishing returns. It's clear. Are they touching? Maybe are
They
they
are still
touching
doing good
diminishing
music.
returns?
They are still promoting themselves.
newbies are having difficulties in breaking
To
through.
promote,
So
it's
I'm coming. See,
expensive, as he said.
according to Action Nomad, for example,
Uh-huh.
Action Nomad is of the opinion that to survive in this ecosystem, you have to break through the French market. I think I've heard him talk about
He's
it.
been switching
two-
opinions.
Okay,
every day.
but I've heard him say this
I don't really
like
agree with
twice.
that. Sure.
What's the point?
Yeah, no, I've heard.
But he's doing something with Elisha.
That was
He's
his
doing something very
opinions. When he was with Renew, he was saying that the root is.
not wanting to penetrate the French African market.
So we're all
Anyways,
learning.
I mean, we're all learning. So I've come to
There's
so
no
him. I've heard
blueprint.
him a couple of times says that
He has.
even recently. I mean,
Yes,
there's a whole
he
write-up
has.
he did about saying that he has understood the system. You must go through the French and stuff. Which, I mean, is an opinion.
Yes.
It could work as well as it could not work.
I
So
hate
what
it.
I'm saying is that see,
What's the way to go?
for example, okay, I mean, we're trying to make this into scientific. Do you listen to the songs of Loco?
I do. One of my favorites.
Now,
Would
listen
you
to them.
notice
They
that
have
if
this
you
new
listen,
Bole song coming out?
no, come. If you listen to a lot to Loco, you realize that Loco sings more in English.
Yeah,
Are you
I
serious?
noticed that. I was
He
like,
sings more in English.
More in English.
Are you serious?
And that was strange.
True.
He sings
Yeah, if
more
you
in
don't pay
English.
attention, you will not know.
I
I
stopped
know,
listening
and I was
because I
surprised.
found out
I
that
think
he
most
if you
of
don't-
the francophone, right? Even though he speaks English.
Yes.
relates to
Yeah,
French
but he speaks
culture.
more English, but he's
If you don't pay attention, you will not know.
That
I
he's
wondered
why
the
should I
artist
pay
thing,
attention to understand that he sings music in English? If I have to pay attention, then it's not.
No.
I'm not
What
gonna
I'm
put
saying,
it
you don't
why.
have to pay attention. What I'm
Yeah.
saying is
It
that
means that that's what's out there.
No, it's at the level of his background. I mean, automatic, you already just
He
know
speaks
that.
French and everything, but if
his
you use, you notice
background.
that more percentage as he's saying is English. But
English.
people don't notice because he's known to be French, French artist.
Maybe his hooks. He's going to tell you. I mean, he's my friend. We have conversations. He's going to tell you, hooks has to be in French because it's the francophones that are probably going to pick it up and stuff. But he flows more in
Bro, I think I've watched an interview where he said he writes better in English.
English, right? Okay, so it brings me to the explanation. I'm saying that it does not matter. We have made this thing to. Anyways, another thing I also tell you from reading is that there is no blueprint on success in this industry.
That's exactly what I wanted to
That's
say.
fine.
There's actually no blueprint.
No, but if there's no
Because all
blueprint,
of this thing was
but there's
saying, I don't know.
something.
There's
There's
I have
blueprints.
opinion.
I would
No, there's no
argue
blueprint.
there's little blueprints.
No,
Because let me why do I say so?
I mean, there's a general blueprint that says that. I mean, if you don't promote your music,
I-
specifically, let me say why. Let me say why.
Atem says
Let me just say this. There's people who have had like the one-time success or two. There's people who have had it back to back. I can say Kosi, for example. That means there is something that he has understood. He's doing back to back.
this.
longevity, bro.
That's what they say.
You know,
blueprint.
exposure.
Longevity. But my problem is what happens to them in the long run. You get? This is where the diminishing return comes
as
in.
he says. So there's
And
no
now
blueprint
there's
for
something I
real,
want to say about this thing, this language thing, because I have a big problem with this language thing.
Okay.
And yeah, it is. I will not deny that it is. He has already given the blessing. Now let me say something. Now, as a YouTuber, I know a lot about algorithm. A lot about algorithm. And this is how it works. When you start posting, for example, on your media platforms, you discover that in the beginning, for example, I mean, it's hard because the Anglophones are you're trying to do your thing in English and it's difficult. You are not breaking through, right? But what always happens is you will get to a certain level and then let's say now you get to like some constant like 10K views, right? Now you feel like, okay, I've reached here and I've already exhausted everything about the English Cameroon. I need to go to French Cameroon. They start singing in French. Now remember, they haven't blown yet, I mean, they might be known by industry
no
people and a
diehard
couple of
fans.
fans,
Yeah.
but then again, they haven't blown. Now, you get to French music and then you blow up. Okay. Now, when you blow up, you start making some money, here and there, some petty gigs here and there. And then at one point, you discover that, no, il n'y a pas trop d'argent ici. I want more money that way. There is more expensive gold.
Asaba is a great example. Mom Bebe.
And then you come back to English, right? Now, this is how the algorithm works. The algorithm is more or less like a robot. It's robotic. It's robotic. So what happens is, when you start with the English, they understand that this is your direction. They'll be pushing your video towards that direction, right? You get to French, you haven't blown yet. I mean, you haven't blown, then you blow up. That simply means that the algorithm automatically switches direction and then they start sending you to the French market. Now, as you're going into the French market, you give a couple of hits and then everybody be like, yo, this person is big in French market, right? And then out of a sudden, you switch back your language to English, of which your entire grounds is French. When you do this again, the algorithm will leave you behind.
So it's
It will
better to
crash.
collaborate now.
It will
Like
crash.
combine
That is
both.
why we see so many people, so many of our artists, they get here, they start here, then they skyrocket, they go here, then after, it shoot. Because they're unable to make views when you have all those subscribers. And guess what? If I have 10,000 subscribers, out of the 10,000 subscribers, 5,000 interact with my content. Now, I blow up and then I get like 100,000 subscribers. Now, in this 100,000 subscribers, let's say like 70K interacts. You understand? Then that 5,000 that was normally interacting, it's slowly diminishing and it gets dormant at some point. Now you want to come back to English. Now remember that 5,000 you already had with the English has already gone dormant, and the French people are not aligning with what you are doing. Hence, they will not watch your content. Now, when the bulk of your followers or subscribers don't watch your content, YouTube will not push the video. And if you do this over and over and over again, YouTube automatically, like, they just shadow ban you.
So one thing I've picked from what you're saying is that we should be consistent with their niche
Yes.
that they're following.
And that is why
So-
you see people who do streaming farms. You see people who do streaming farms, right? I always tell people that it is 1,000,000 times better to do streaming farms than to buy subscribers.
So, but what
No, we'll get it mixed
You
up.
know,
it's great.
I see.
I was talking
Yes.
more from
I'm talking
a
on algorithm
YouTuber.
level. Now he's talking
Yeah,
now
I'm
more or
talking the
less like the business
I'm
part of
talking
it.
the
Yeah, that's
business.
Yes.
the subset
And the
of it.
music
The
business is
offline
way
now,
more
bro.
than
That's
it's
digitally.
way more than just YouTube.
Yeah, that's just
Yeah,
digitally.
it's
That's
way
just
And
digitally.
remember too, I remember too that the media interactions to have a big role to play.
It plays a role, but it cannot be like the general role as you're trying
It cannot be the general rule, but then again, nowadays, whether we like it or not, even people are not even going to be doing streaming farms in the first place. Nowadays, people are actually moved by what they see.
Yeah.
They are moved by what they see. You understand? So if, for example, I get to this person's account, for example, and I'm looking at the views and everything, and I'm like, no, it's not giving. No, this person is not giving. And then I want to get to you, for example, they tell me that let me pay you like $1 million US. I'll just laugh. I'll be like, now the reaction comes in. That person will not even get 10,000 views for you to be asking say $1 million. Do it. That's why people go in for their streaming farms. That's why people go in for these things.
Just like I said again,
Because it's part of
talking
your
from-
brand, whether you like it or not, it's part of your brand. And the moment the algorithm fails, that's one of the biggest things, problems
Yeah,
that can
that's
happen
your
to you as
point.
an
That
artist.
point of
The point
inconsistency
is
makes
valid,
sense. Yeah,
but
it's
let
valid.
us get guided. I mean,
Yes.
it's a valid point,
Yes.
but the music business is way more than that.
It's broader. That's a small aspect of
People
it.
should not forget the film industry too. The
We are on all of it.
comedian industry.
I mean, it's way. No, I'm still coming back to our A-listers because it's a major problem. I mean, this is why we're having this conversation today to see like what's happening. I mean, everybody gets to A-list and then they start touching diminishing return. And I'll say that I mean, subscribers on YouTube, views on YouTube is one of it, but we have
There's way more.
we have a pressing problem that is way more than that. And I'll tell you that. Do you think that? I mean, for someone like me who is like an opinion leader in the industry, I'm trying not to call names. I'm just trying to be
I'll call them for you.
fair as possible. I don't want, yeah. Now, do you think that some of these A-list artists, with the downward turn on how their careers are turned, they stop singing good music? No.
No.
They still sing good music and they do good music. No. A lot changed too. These are real facts of our industry. There was a time where all you had to do was get a song, put it on Trace Africa. 1 month later, it's a hit.
Yes.
Yep.
It was working that way.
It was working that way. Of course, it was working. Trace was an opinion leader in the industry. Trace Africa is no longer an opinion leader.
I don't know what you know more.
You get. I mean, for reasons being that it's no longer free for air. Like before, everybody, even the normal cable lines, could get Trace. Now they don't get it anymore. If you don't pay for subscribers, you get. So a lot of change. That made that was also a curse to our industry because it made our A-listers very comfortable. I mean, guys stopped doing media tours. Guys stopped doing PRs. Guys stopped doing marketing. They just knew that you're just gonna put it on Trace, and then it does the job for you. Now Trace doesn't do the job anymore. New things have come up. TikTok is coming. Snap. I see a lot of them not trying to do collabs with the TikTok guys and stuff. So they didn't stop doing music. But what I'm saying as a possible solution, there comes a time where our A-listers have to stop singing for Cameroon.
Yes.
You have to grow past a territory. You have to conquer new territories. And that's why when guys say that, Kosi, for example, I'm using Kosi as an example. Kosi understands that there's going to be a time that this industry is going to be saturated with all these things you've been singing. He needs a new territory to start trying. He's not just going to walk into that territory like a king. He's going to go slowly, gradually. I mean, if you follow his trajectory, you see, from when he moved towards that area, he's done a few stuff on that side. Now he has new subscribers. Let's go back to YouTube. He has new subscribers. He has new. And I think that his management team is going to tell you that I think they've made some real cash digitally from these new songs this way than all the
Even though people
views
look at
and
it like
stuff.
He said that in
less-
Urban Bridge, by the way.
They said that
Yeah.
themselves, right?
Yes.
Okay, so you realize that there's a whole new thing. But trust you, I'll tell you in all honesty that I know for sure. I think his next coming release is probably this year. If he's a smart guy, he's going to come back to his normal regular.
It's more than.
He's going to come
But I
back
have
to
a
his normal
question
regular.
for you. So I like the fact that you specified this solution to A-listers, and now I wanted now you to now talk about this one to break in. Should they use this same with this strategy? Do you think it's gonna work?
I mean, if you
Or
cannot,
they could just maybe focus on a small territory where
I
you
mean-
are locally Cameroon and then grow.
it all depends on strategy and budget.
Yes, on your SWOT analysis.
Sometimes, if you don't have a big budget,
Mhm.
you have to go with the things you have to survive. For example, you don't expect a record label like Mavis Records, for example. I mean, they have resources.
Yeah.
They can force an artist on you.
Yes.
Know what I mean? Like they can
Yeah.
literally force an artist on
I'm
you.
feeling vibes.
Where you don't have a choice. They'll
Everybody
force it on you.
Yeah.
You get, because they deal directly with opinion leaders. See, there's something that gatekeepers and the opinion leaders in every industry.
Fine Line, brought to you by Jam TV. Fine Line, brought to you by Jam TV. Fine Line, brought to you by Jam TV.